And thank you for staying with us. This is still Voice of the People, 96.1 FM Abuja. I'm Chinwe Blessing, like I said. And today on World Rounds, we delve into the heart of compassion and controversy. We aim to unravel the story surrounding Senator Remi Tinubu's generous donation of 500 million naira to 500 families affected by Plateau State crisis. Now, it will be recalled that the First Lady had, during her visit to sympathize with the people of the Plateau State over the recent killings and attacks, she presented a check of 500 million naira to the governor, Caleb Mutfwang, to be disbursed to 500 families that have been affected by the attacks in 6 local government areas. That would include Mangu local government, Bokos, Barkinladi, to South Riom and Bassa. Now, but as goodwill follows, so do questions and skepticism, as has been expressed by the chairman of MACBAN in a statement which he released, Nuhu Abdullahi. Now, the group noted that it was surprising that the state government will submit the list of affected people without contacting them or including the names of their members who were also affected by the crisis. Like we always do on the program, we ask, we probe, and we seek answers. Joining us in the studio today is the current Commissioner of Information and Communication for Plateau State, Honorable Musa Ibrahim Ashoms. He was the Special Assistant Media and Protocol to Senator ID Gang when he was representing Plateau North. Also SA Media National Vice Chairman, PDP North Central. He was also a former Legislative Counsel for Jos East. Thank you very much for joining us in the house today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure. Thank you for returning. I mean, we've had you in the house once. Let's hit the ground running, like I always say. Let's begin like this. Can you provide us with more details than, of course, I have given in the introduction about Senator Remi Tinubu's generous donation of 500 million naira to 500 families affected by Plateau State crisis through the Renewed Hope initiative?
And first of all, we want to thank the First Lady for her kindness, for her motherly gesture, for what she has done to the internally displaced persons on the plateau. We are grateful. We will remain eternally indebted to her for this show of love. It's not easy for you to have a political party that is different from yours, because the federal government of Nigeria is run by the APC. When you come to Plateau State, you are a PDP state. And out of kindness, out of leadership, out of motherhood, out of sympathy and empathy, she came down to Plateau and donated 500 million naira to 500 families. And this was, even though it wasn't a kind of celebration that we would want, but the people were happy that the mother of the nation, for the first time, because we've had series of crises on the plateau, for the first time a First Lady is intervening in our own affairs, and especially that we belong to different political parties. But like Nigerians, credible Nigerians will say that the time for politicking is over. It's now time for governance. She has displayed that on the plateau. And you could see that in the event, we had a collage of both the APC, the PDP and Labour Party and other political parties, because there is a humanitarian crisis. So the issue of political party didn't surface in the first place. You heard the APC state chairman, Chief Rufus Bature. You had the representative of the PDP state chairman, Chris Hassan. He was represented by Captain Bitrus Golen. And Mrs. Zamfara, the Labour Party chairperson of the plateau. Everybody came out and they thanked Mama Akwe Dadi for the wonderful First Lady, for her benevolence. But lo and behold, some days after, people are bringing cries and hues from left, right, and center. This 500 million naira is just for 500 families. If you count the number of families that have been affected by this pogrom, by this annihilation, by these attacks, they are way, way beyond 500. Do you understand? Some of them are not in IDP camps. Some of them have patched with their family members, with their friends. And, you know, as a people, we do not like tokenism. Our people, mostly when these things affect them, if it is not very, very needful, you don't find them in camps. Other families that God has spared their lives, accommodate them. So lo and behold, we thought that people are going to say, thank you for this generosity. Thank you for kindness. Thank you for putting humanity first. But lo and behold, you hear people crying. You know, this is democracy. People have the right to air their views. People have the right to say things when they feel their rights have been trampled upon. But as a government, what we looked at is people that have been affected. We didn't profile people based on ethnic nationalities, based on their leanings politically, based on their apostolic creed, based on their denomination, based on their faith. As a state, we only looked at people that are from Plateau that were affected, so that they will have succor. It will shock you to know that on the list, you will see names of people that will not benefit from the program. Because, for example, if Blessing Chinwe is affected and she doesn't have an account number and the First Lady has to give $1 million to Blessing, somebody will step in for her. So you must look for someone that is trusted, someone that is trustworthy, and the community now nominates such names. So among the list, it's not every name that you find in the list that is a beneficiary. And in some communities, they agreed that, okay, we've been given 50 slots. Because the pogrom is not the same everywhere. Some are more devastated than others. Some are more affected than others, even though every life matters to us as a people. Then they will sit down and say, one family, 1 million, that is way too much for you. Let's make it maybe 200 for 5 families. And they will agree. And they will say, okay, let's present this particular name. So when you see names on that list, it is because people in their communities trust them. So it's not about political affiliation. It's not about whether, if it is about political affiliation, Her Excellency would have taken it to an APC state. But she was kind. She was human. She displayed leadership. In case you do not know, Her Excellency Remi Tinubu is the most politically aware, politically.
I do remember that on Arise News you described her, which is one of my questions, by the way, as the most politically educated mother of the nation. Now, I would like for you to break that down a little bit. What do you mean by that?
We've had political leaders with their wives, but her attachment to politics,